Hello, Friday night. Happy Friday. Hey, from Portland, 6 hours south of here. Tori, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining. It's great to see someone on the West Coast. I've always wanted to go back to Portland. I was there when I was like 16. And Pearl, how are you? All the way from the UK. Thank you for dialing in. Friday night. Happy Friday. Oh, we got my test audio coming in. I don't know if you could hear that, but everything's working. Is there an echo? TGI. Yeah, totally, Tori. Anyways, I want to go to Portland. I want to go to Cannon Beach and take beautiful photos and fill up my Instagram with pictures of, where the Goonies were filmed and all that. So, yeah, that's that. But happy Friday, everyone. Oh my God, what a long week. Seems like a pretty, busy week in that we're all back at work now. There's no more excuses. Christmas is over. Even thank you, Tori, for letting me know about the audio. We had this echo the last time I did the live stream, and I have watched a lot of YouTube videos on audio and OBS and YouTube and trying to make sure that this thing is working good. So that's great. That's great to hear. But yeah, everyone's back at work. Or is anyone still on vacation? Because I kind of feel like the first 2 weeks of January would probably be a really good time to take off work. That's what I thought. But I posted a video there, I think it's about a week ago, and I just really wanted to process some stuff that was really weighing me down. And what I noticed in this last video and in the video before is that the comments were getting increasingly bigoted. And what's that, Constance? So yeah, I get 4 weeks of vacation a year, so I try to take it. I hope you get a lot of vacation yourself. But yeah, the last two videos have generated some really ugly comments. And YouTube does a really good job of filtering those comments, so I don't see them. Sometimes, though, in not seeing them, they still get posted. So normally, like, I've got the filters all set so that it doesn't show up, like certain words. But I don't know if that means I don't get the notification and it just gets posted. Because like there was, a homophobic slur on one of the videos yesterday, which I saw, and like, thanks, I guess, you're probably 14, and that's what my friend said to me when I was 14 in the locker room playing football. Like, I've been called worse by better kind of thing. And yes, I am gay for you and gay for them and gay for me, and like that's a word that's not gonna hurt me too much, I think, but it might hurt others, so I removed it and reported it. So I try to really watch. No, they're from different people, Tori. Different people. Yeah, and so I did this video 2 years ago, just before Christmas, 2019. No. COVID's totally messed my brain. We're 2023, so 2021, the Christmas, Christmas 2020. That's when I did it. I did this video on autogynephilia. And basically, all I was trying to do was say, hey, this is this word, this is this concept, this is how it held me back for so many years because I hung on to it. And what's been really distressing about that video in particular is how many people are really clinging to that they identify as an autogynephile. And I get it, like, transition is scary as all get out, and I'm gonna really try to watch my language. YouTube has changed their community standards, so if I'm saying different things like horse feathers, please know I don't mean horse feathers. I just don't want a community strike. You only get two. and I've had 0 in 4.5 years. So I want to keep that, and hope nobody goes through my older videos. But yeah, people are hanging on to this, and they go to that video, and they, like, really, I think what they're doing is they're searching. Like, they're like, oh my God, why do I feel this way? Why do I have these sensations? Why, how is it that I'm experiencing this? And, you type that in, and my name comes up. On top of that, a Terf blog put that video on their website. And so I get random Terf drive-bys on that video. And then the video I released before Christmas, was it before Christmas? I think it was before Christmas, just 4 weeks ago here, just the 6-month update. And I used the thumbnail, deliberately so, used the thumbnail, maybe it was a mistake. And, I kind of did that to play into really all the stuff that's in the media about transgender regret, about groomers. And truthfully, I'd rather be called what I was called in my high school locker room than being called a groomer. And because when I started transition for real, I had a couple of people in my life say that to me. Like, as a parent of 6 kids, I had a couple of people say that to me. So it's very upsetting for me. But I've yet to be called that one since then, at least. And so, yeah, I played into this. Maybe it was a mistake. And yeah, Tori, Blanchard influenced the gender clinic here in Vancouver in the 90s. So when, like, I would call 411, I would call the switchboard, like, I don't even think Vancouver General was on the internet in the mid-90s, because it was just GeoCities, right, or what have you. And Blanchard influenced the gender clinic here, and like, you had to show up dressed and presenting female and stuff like that. And at 18, 19 years old, that scared the crap out of me. That, and my mom worked at Vancouver General, where the gender clinic was. So it was, yeah, it wasn't going to happen for me as a teenager. And yeah. So I think as an academic, he has a lot to answer for and has really injured a lot of people. Yeah, absolutely, Tori. I would agree with that sentiment. At a certain point, you begin to wonder, like, is this a kink? What is this? And it was put to me by a friend that experience, that feeling, is kind of like, like when you're cross-dressing in the bedroom, right? Like with a partner or whatever, or it's the only way you can get involved in stuff. It's kind of like being on an ice floe in the river or whatever, and that ice floe slowly gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And so, and at the same time, your need to express yourself as you get tapped into these authentic moments, and that's the only place you can be authentic, right, is perhaps in the bedroom. It gets harder and harder and harder until it's gone. And you're just swimming in the river, and the choice at that point is, I feel, at least in my circumstance, transition or die. So yeah, that's kind of, I get that, fetish, kink, totally, absolutely. And Constance says, after the DSM, so if someone's reading this or watching the replay of this, and they don't know what the DSM is, I think that stands for Diagnostic Standards Manual, and we are on the DSM-5 now. So the DSM-5, or are we on 6 now? And you're talking about, no, we are in 5. You're saying after the DSM walked back in version 5, paralleling the trans experience with the AGP, it bothers me when people come out and identify as AGP or continue to bring it up in the public discourse. I'm kind of two minds of that, Constance. So one, yes, like somebody like Matt Walsh. And like, I'm not American, and I try my best to stay out of American politics online, in that it exposes you to just too much hate, and partisanship and all that. But like somebody like, say, Matt Walsh talking about it, or Ben Shapiro, or even a fellow Canadian, Jordan Peterson, good God. I agree that I struggle with them bringing it into the discourse because it's a way to discredit us and invalidate our experiences. Just asking questions, right? But then I think about, I watched this YouTube video just last week. English. I'm going to use English guy. I'm going to use the pronouns that he's presenting, and the identity he's presenting. English kid, I'm going to say early 20s, and did a couple videos a couple years ago about autogynephilia and basically identifying as that. And then he's doing the update, and it's just heartbreaking, really, to see it like play out and knowing what's behind it. And like, oh my gosh, like what if I told you all this struggle could just be gone? What if I told you all this heartache could just be gone, and you could live this beautiful life of authenticity as yourself? And so for those people, who identify as it or are hanging on to it, I have a lot of empathy. I have a lot of empathy insofar as I hope that they can find peace and happiness and find the courage to step into authenticity. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So we've got the UK checking in. We've got Pacific Northwest checking in. Where else are folks from on the call? We've got just about a dozen people on the call. Not on the call. We're not on a call. We're on the live stream. I'm just stuck in work mode still because it's Friday. Obviously, I need another drink. Drinking a local craft beer from Parallel 49. So today we want to talk about just those last two videos. I was going to read through the comments of those videos. I thought that would be a lot of material. Oh, well, yes, you are from Calgary, CC. I am so happy you are here. I wish I could find a way to dial you in so you could just read your comments, because I want to read your comments from Calgary. KCMO, Tara. That's the place I got to get to. Olympia, Washington. Olympia, Washington, the home of Slater Kinney. Am I right? I think Slater Kinney is from Olympia. I don't think Nirvana's from that area. I think they're from the other side of Seattle. I could be wrong, but anyways, I've never been on the Olympic Peninsula. I think the closest I've been is Mount Vernon. Just growing up in Vancouver, going back and forth to Seattle and Bellingham and that sort of stuff. Played football a couple times in Everett. Okay, I said something correct. I think it was Slater Kinney though. And I know Olympia is the capital of Washington. Aberdeen? Okay, Nirvana is from Aberdeen. The Muddy Banks of the Wick. What's the live album that was released late 90s? Anyways, my son is into Nirvana right now, my 12-year-old, and it's so cool. Like, he's learning to play it on guitar, and he's sending me videos of him playing Smells Like Teen Spirit. And I got to tell you, like, he was doing the riff for Come As You Are, and it made me tear up, and I just loved it. And I thought about when I was a teenager learning to play those songs on guitar as well. Tori, got your passports. Well, Vancouver is a lovely spot to visit, I gotta say. It's a great place to be from, great place to live, and it's an awesome place for tourists. As somebody who grew up here, I remember really being annoyed with tourists all the time. But I've come to love them and enjoy them. And, I try to give directions when I'm downtown. A lot of Germans come here, and so I'll try to, sprechen Sie Deutsch mit die Ausländer. Yeah, okay. You used to visit quite frequently. I recommend visiting frequently. I said I got to go to Portland because I think that's a cool place. Although I hear outside of Portland, Oregon can be unfriendly for trans people, but I don't know about that. Like, people say that about small town BC and small town Alberta, and I've never had any issues there. So I'm gonna bring up the comments now, and let's get at it. So we got the so I mentioned transgender regret, and I do want to point this out. One of the reasons I'm getting these comments. So this is a concept being popularized, concept in the media, and you can see Daily Caller, which I don't know who's behind that. Blair White. I watched a lot of Blair White's videos when I first started transitioning, and at a certain point she it seemed like she just developed this total lack of compassion, and it became really difficult to watch. And now I think she's just on a whole other level of something else, and it's really, she's very intelligent, and I think she could be a real force for good. I'm a pretty conservative person myself. I get teased frequently, and I stick out like a sore thumb in the queer community because I can be pretty conservative. But I can't get past, that lack of compassion or empathy in any conservative circle, like, whether that be BLM, land back, whatever. So anyways, transgender regret, Blair White, of course, is going to come on. I have watched a couple of her videos over the last few months about this. Walt Hare is someone I've known for years, or not known, but I've known of, in media. And Walt's story is really sad. You can see it here, where, transitioned in the 80s and detransitioned, but now is actively working against transition, it seems. Daily Wire, I think, is Ben Shapiro's website. But look what comes up next. And I'm in incognito mode. I've looked this up on TVs, like in hotel rooms, in different cities, different provinces, and my video is coming up. So I think this is part of the reason why I'm starting to get these, these comments. So here's the 6-month update. Reuters has, okay, I didn't know that. It hasn't hit my radar at all. And to be honest, I don't go searching for it unless it's a, worthwhile, and there isn't some sort of agenda going on, and I just can't quite make sense of it, other than to say that the American media is overwhelming. As someone who grew up next to that machine for 45 years, and it's definitely in the media, and it's an easy low-hanging piece of fruit to throw to folks who don't have time to understand nuance, or I'm going to assume that is a typo, but the wrong circles is my guess there. But 10 states, I believe this year, just in the last 10 days, 10 states, or is it 5 states? Was it 10% of the states? Let's say 5 states have introduced, Oklahoma being the worst example, which is horrific to read what's going on in Oklahoma. So, my videos, in the wrong circles for sure. So this was the 6-month update. I don't think it was anything earth-shattering, like, hey, this is what's going on. Is the USA polarized? I understand gerrymandering. I understand, how communities have been, like in Houston, for example. Texas is a place I really enjoyed. But how people are like where my neighbor used to be Republican, or I was a Republican and my neighbor used to be a Democrat, or the family across the street were independents. Now it's like my neighbor's a Democrat, the person across the street's a Democrat, or vice versa, where I'm a Republican, they're a Republican. And I don't know if that's so much polarization in that 48% of the country's over here and 48% of the country's over here. And it's just like they're negotiating with that 4 or 5% in the middle who can swing things. But it's not my country, and I'm just someone who lives next door. So the saying is, if the US gets a cold, Canada gets the flu. And that stuff is coming up here. Stuff is coming up here. So tomorrow, 10 a.m. in Coquitlam. Coquitlam is a suburb of Vancouver. It's about 30 minutes from here to the east. And there's going to be a drag queen story hour, 10 a.m. tomorrow. And there's anti-vaxxers, Freedom Convoy folks who are protesting it. And there's going to be a counter protest. I'm not going to go. I thought about it all week, but I'm not going to go. I don't think it's safe for me. And I will let cisgender people use their privilege to fight that battle, because I don't think I should be there or can be there. So the 6-month update, it's interesting now with the AI. So they're breaking it up into chapters. I'm not doing this. This is YouTube doing it on their own. So I've got orgasm. Can I still orgasm? Yes, I can. Urination. It's weird now. Like it kind of like pours out of you, like especially right after surgery. It's like you just have no control, and it just goes. I enjoyed the catheter. And look at the screenshot. It's got my dilator in there, and yeah, UTI. I got my first UTI there, and like I was gonna ride it out with cranberry juice. But I started throwing up, and so I didn't mean to play it, but that's okay. Started throwing up, and then that's when I used virtual care. And as a Canadian, we have access to universal health care, and I really struggled with this actually. So I might be conservative in some ways, but I'm actually pretty progressive in others. And I paid money to use a doctor, and I was offended as a citizen. $80 to access. I was on the online video with the doctor within minutes. It was great. And, I was getting sick, and I was like, okay, ER, I don't want to wait 6 hours, 7 hours for a prescription, knowing I knew it was a UTI. And take resources from somebody who needs it. Like 2 people have died in Nova Scotia this week, waiting in the ER. It's criminal. Didn't want to take resources, didn't want to go to a walk-in clinic, same story. Very uncomfortable too, right? Like I didn't want to sit, go run to the washroom. I thought I could be funny and live tweet it. So yeah, cranberry juice, Dr. Google, and then I started throwing up. So that's the point that I got virtual care. So yeah, these are the comments way down here. And here we go. So I'm trying to pin just a flag on each one just to say, please flag it, like, so you can just tag me with my YouTube handle at Kate Madden. So I guess I'm early enough in the YouTube game that I get my name as my handle. But M disagrees here. M says I should allow for the whole conversation. I want to see if I can get the... I have nothing bad to say, but as long as it's not vulgar, leave it. So, yeah, to a certain point, I'm willing to let something stay there. But, even conceptually, like there are certain things that could be harmful to people. And so I guess I'm okay with something problematic being stated, like, out of ignorance, and that could be corrected with, if they're coming from a place of good faith. But I'm not willing to let something sit there. Somebody left a comment in between about being a Christian here and just talking about their faith. And so I just quickly Googled queer theologian. There are some queer Christian theologians out there. Anyways, that's a whole other video, and I've done a couple on them. Badira says, bonsoir. Why is it so important to have the bottom surgery? I'm assuming Badira is ESL because of the bonsoir. So I responded en français parce que c'est tout moi maintenant. So because it's all me now, that's what I said. And so thanks, good luck is what Badira says. So I had my surgery in Montreal, which is in Quebec, which of course is mostly French, rather than in Montreal, although the clinic is on the other side of Montreal. So the west side of Montreal is the English-speaking part, as far as I understand. The east side is not. Could be totally wrong. I've only been there as a visitor. But practice up on your French, especially in Laval. Alyssa says, thank you. I wasn't sure how to take this comment. Thank you so much for sharing your life. I'm keeping you in my prayers. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? You're keeping me in your prayers because I'm a sinner? Well, I guess I am. I mean, but you can see how like these comments are being driven from some sort of theocratic Christian perspective. So walking by faith, not by sight, right? And like I got thoughts theologically speaking about prosperity gospel, evangelical Christianity, and anyways, go read the book of Job, folks. Like it's not all sunshine and John 10:10, So hi Kate, hope you're doing well. Came across your video. So glad you put out videos for people. I gotta say, being on YouTube, I've really enjoyed it, like being able to share it. Apparently on YouTube, you can't say this word anymore. Is this highlighted? Yeah. Can't say that word either. So it's, I think it's an important subject in the trans community to be open about and talk about. And I don't know what to do about that. So because no one would expect her transition to become, and I wasn't sure when I read this, I wasn't sure how, like you meet people who talk about family members or friends who are transitioning, and I'm never sure what pronouns to use. But they say, I'm here to say God loves everyone. Okay, thanks. Who can just keep those negative thoughts to themselves. So CC says, any comments left in bad faith? And, y'all need to check out CC's website or Instagram, TikTok, leaving on Monday for Montreal. Like, what a great series of videos, the countdown that she's done to her departure and surgery next week. So seriously, go follow. Like, the comments you get must be, even more than, because you have more followers, more subscribers than I do. So I just responded. I thought from a place of compassion, sorry for your loss, and I talked about being a believer, which I am. That has never changed. I say the church left me. I didn't leave the church, and here's the kind of a theological thing. And I've got a couple of them in my life that I cling to, but this is one, is God works with truth. And what could be more beautiful than the truth of ourselves and being able to love and be loved fully in a way that gives life, right? So that's really it. So we went back and forth there. Jenny is gonna be here. PR card is permanent residence. So in Canada, you start as a visitor or a student, and you can get a PR. I think 3 years, 5 years, I can't remember, and then you can become a citizen if you want. My dad lived here for like 20 years before he became a citizen. From Scotland, if anyone else is from the UK. I didn't delete this one from Sean Hopkins. I wasn't sure what to do to that. Like, it wasn't terribly offside. Hi, Miss Kate Madden, you are so beautiful. Can you wear red lipstick or red lip gloss in your next video, please? From Sean M. Hopkins. So, no, I'm not doing that for you. If I do it, I'm going to do it for me. But I left it in there just, I don't know why. Maybe. It's funny, really. Carissa Harder was not convinced of my happiness after the surgery. I'm so sorry, Carissa, that I didn't convince you. She does hope, I'm assuming, uses she, her pronouns, that you're happy. And I hope good things, but your face says regret. Thanks for watching. Really, like, here's one of the things. Like, yeah, the comments suck sometimes, but thanks for the watching. Thanks for the watch time. And so, like, the two main metrics in YouTube, it's not views. Like, views are great for sure, but the two main metrics are watch time. So how many hours in a video is watched, and the click-through, CTR, click-through response. So when the thumbnail comes up, how many people are clicking through. And so the last two videos, about between 8 and 10%, it varies day to day. 8 to 10% of people who see the thumbnail are clicking through, versus my early videos where it's like 2% would click through. I always reply that premium content isn't free. Premium? Yeah. So, but I'm not willing to charge for a red lipstick, you know? Inga says, I seem so very sad. I hope this is not the case. Well, thanks for your concern, Inga. King J, King J had a really good question here. I thought, can't find information on the long-term effects of HRT and SRS for people who are assigned male at birth. I am hesitating on transition only, capitalized, because I've heard there's a much higher risk for blood clots and strokes when taking HRT and after gender. What is the GRS? Gender confirmation surgery? GCS? Gender. What does GRS stand for? I forget now. Gender reassignment surgery. That's what it stands for. And truthfully, like, yeah, my MD and I, when I first started, yep, Pearl's got it. When I first started, progesterone was given to me because he was concerned about blood clots and strokes. So yeah, for sure. But the reason I think this is a really good thought is I notice after a certain point, a lot of trans women kind of just fade into the background. Like, they very subtly just, it's like an Irish accent, you know? And the ones who stick around publicly, they've got some investment in, as an activist or as an advocate or what have you. They have something to say, something they want to do. And, I'm kind of feeling like 5 years in, I'm not sure what my future is publicly. Like, maybe I need to step back and step away. But a result of this is that we don't have a lot of public information, public discourse about the long-term effects of HRT, about the long-term effects of SRS. And I think that that's something that we should be sharing with each other. Old information from the old school estrogen, Valirit, fix the clots and stroke issues. In fact, estrogen can lower the risk of chronic heart disease. Yeah, although as we saw yesterday with Lisa Marie Presley, there's an element of hereditary disease there too, right? Like Elvis, lifestyle excluded, 42. Elvis's mom was 46, and my parents didn't like each other. But the only thing they agreed on was their mutual love of Elvis. So I grew up with a lot of Elvis in my life. And I wasn't sad yesterday. I mean, I don't wish, of course, anything on anyone, but I did notice that and thought about that. CC says, for me, I don't feel like I can step back because there's so very little. I think I could finish that statement for you. There, that's exactly what I was going to say, what you just typed. I don't know how long the delay is for you typing and me seeing it. I'm going to guess about 10 seconds. But yeah, that's a good point. But at what point is that too much for you? And at what point is that fair? Like, is it reasonable to expect that of you? Like, you're a parent, you're a business owner. Is it reasonable to expect that? Is it reasonable to expect that of me or anyone? Yeah, I don't know. It's something I have been giving a lot of thought to lately. And you kind of saw at the end of the last video where I was like, I'm not sure what else to say on this channel. Because I don't know that the stories I have, the story I want to share is it worthwhile anymore? Like, I'm just a 45-year-old middle-class white woman, Vancouver. Like, I can point people in the direction of things, but like there are other people who have better, more valuable things to say. Another person saying, I don't come across as happy. So, noted. Is this a cringe? What is this, the straight face? I just say, look, I got no chill, but I am in fact very chill. It's kind of a weird thing. So if that's not sufficiently happy enough for that person or others, well, there are words I'm not allowed to say on YouTube anymore. When you dilate, can't you just put it in and carry on your day with it? No, because it'll pop out. It will pop out like with the lube. So I explain what you got to do. So it's not within arm's reach. They're over there, but you stick a dilator in, and then it goes in, and you touch the back of the vaginal canal. It's not like I wonder if people were thinking it was like a butt plug or something that you could just stick in. Diogenes, I don't know patristics or Greek of 2,000 years ago, but Apostle Diogenes II. Please don't worry about climax nerve damage. Well, no, I'm not, because everything works, like I said in that video. I read it takes a year for nerves to fully heal. Yeah, I've still got some numbness for sure on the left side. Oh my God, you should be an engineer. Forgive my ignorance. Did you have facial feminization, or is that pure estrogen? Well, yeah, it's pure estrogen. That's all. If I have male pattern baldness, will estrogen make my hair grow back? Not necessarily. So this is something some people have reported hair growth, but others haven't. And different things impact you in terms of the efficacy of HRT. Physiologically, genetically, lifestyle. I don't want to say comorbidity, but there's contraindication. So, from what you're using, other medications and stuff like that kind of thing. So that'll all impact the efficacy. So for myself, for example, like I got the widow's peak, but my bald spot grew in on the back. John says the last two videos seem somewhat dark, but I hope you are okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what to say. Like, yeah, shit happens. Like, it's things can be difficult, but I'm just really trying to be honest and open, and like, these are the things I'm going through. This is what I'm feeling. This is how I'm experiencing life, you know, personally, professionally. The last few months have been difficult. They've also been really great. Like, my son is living with me now, and that's really, really wonderful. My 16-year-old is living with me. So yeah, male pattern baldness. It may not. It may come back. You know, pretty fine stuff, like CC says. I'm gonna ignore that last comment. I was really not happy that you put it in there at the end. Low Mike based was my comment. Obviously I'm living with a teenager, but I'm dead, right? Because no cap. That's a baller move. I've been told not to talk like that. If you're a parent of teenagers, you're hearing these words too. So to my point about deliberately doing the thumbnail like that, you have the video titled "Maybe It Was a Mistake." No, John M, that's you. Okay, John. No, the video was not titled "It Was a Mistake." The video was titled 6-month update. The thumbnail says maybe it was a mistake. So funny that trans person finds happiness. Orange Worm says that the title is misleading, and for autism. Okay, you know what? I had to pause half a moment here because being neurodivergent myself, certainly I'm not trying to create any sort of barriers or be ableist in any regard. For autism, it's still hard to tell even after watching your video, and also to tell you what you mean from your response to this person. So you don't think it was a mistake? Correct. It was not a mistake. No. I think this is sarcasm in your response. Yes. I responded to something. Sarcasm is the lowest form of humor. That is always my Oscar Wilde, for those who don't know, said that. Because really, it is a poor form of wit. And I try not to be sarcastic in my humor. I might be dry. But yeah, so BX Star jumps in. It's not all because you are trans. I hope you are doing well. I don't know who you are, but thanks. It's clickbait and it's annoying. Well, it was deliberate. Like, yes. So I got annoyed in response. Have you seen the meme? Sir, this is a Wendy's. Like, you know, you came in here ordering McDonald's, but you're at Wendy's. So that's what I said. CC, you know, I feel the last two videos come across more raw in a way that you haven't had before. And I actually really love your vulnerability in the latest videos. It feels real. Yes. I assume a period was missed. It feels real. Or is there more coming? Or like, would this be like on the phone? There'd be bubbles forming and like, oh, there's a novel coming. I hope that makes you laugh. But yeah, you know me. You know me. So getting kicked in the balls. So I talked about getting kicked in the balls. And this person, Lola, actually said it sounds like phantom limb pain. And that made me pause because right after surgery, they give you a drug specifically for, oh, thank you for putting the period in. Grammar is important, but it's not, because grammar, I used to think this, if grammar is important, I would judge people, but it's not. That's a colonial thing. And I've really tried hard to push myself out of that and not expect it or judge it. Like, so yeah, anyways, phantom limb. Yeah, they give you a drug right after surgery. I don't know if it's tramadol or something else, but it could be phantom limb pain for sure. And I just felt it the other day, like 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I was sitting here because I work here. This is my workspace too, and I just switched the computers. And I was feeling it, like it is a kick in the pants. And so I think it's a Dean Martin song. But yeah, ain't that a kick in the pants? Is this a good use of people's time? Like, I really appreciate folks tuning in for this. And I just want to make sure that folks are enjoying the conversation, and feel free to chat. Like, I hope I'm responding fluidly enough, and that we're having this. I do really enjoy this, and I think I should do it more. I hope you enjoy it too, more importantly, or is equally important. Jillian Stapleton says that bottom surgery seems such a big thing to consider. It seems to have a lot of complications. It does, yeah, it can potentially for sexual and general health, but obviously if your dysphoria is around that area, it may be necessary. Yeah, like for me, like when I started transition 5 years ago, I was like, I'm just going to get in line. That's it. I just wanted like a placeholder, get in line and consider it. I knew it would be 2 or 3 years until I had surgery. But I wasn't 100% sure on it at the time. And so, it just got to a point where I was like, yeah, like I need to do this. Yeah, I want to do this. It felt right. And I afterwards, and even almost a year later, it feels like a slam dunk, like one of the easiest decisions I've ever made with the best results, like psychologically, emotionally, and so on. Like, yeah, life is hard, but I'm glad I'm myself, and I'm glad I'm fully myself, that I can deal with it. So I think it should be a last resort after looking at all other avenues and weighing up the risk benefit. Yeah, you know what? Transition really is the treatment of last resort when you consider it. It's like it's something that you get to a point where you just got to do it. Like, nobody really volunteers to transition. Nobody volunteers for bottom surgery until they need it. Like that's the whole thing with gender dysphoria, and the fact that it's a medical condition, the fact that these are life-saving treatments, is that nobody wants this stuff. It's that they need this stuff. They need these surgeries. They need these medications. They need these accommodations in the workplace and socially. What are your pronouns? Like, these are life-saving things. Or they have a demonstrated markedly improved impact upon people. Like with teenagers, just using their correct pronouns, like has such a huge impact on them and their life, like that they will live. And so a friend of mine is trans, doesn't take hormones, and didn't have bottom surgery, has had facial feminization and boobs, and seems very healthy. Yeah, there are a few trans women I've seen online over the years that started HRT and then stopped, had different surgeries, but don't take estrogen. And like, to each their own in that case. Like, I can't, I'm not, who am I to comment beyond, like, they seem fine, they seem happy, and that's great. River Pearl says it feels it's not a good use of their time. You'll see it in the motion. Yes, yeah, the spoon will run off with the fork, right? Or the knife and the spoon. Presumably get in line. You can change your mind right up to last minute. Literally the last minute. Like, seriously, you're sitting in a chair. You have this beautiful view of the river. OR is to your right. There's a little stand. Because you check in Montreal. They double check with you, like, hey, are you sure? Are you sure? And then, so that's just in the reception area. And then you go up the stairs you meet the nurse. You go through your file, confirm your weight, height, medications, all that sort of stuff. And then you go to your room, and like they've confirmed again, reconfirmed. And then the surgeon comes in, you flip up your gown, and they check, like, to make sure there's enough material to work with, right? And discuss options if not. And then, you know, he's checking like, hey, are you sure? And then you go upstairs to the OR. Someone comes and gets you, and you sit there and you wait for the anesthetist, the anesthesiologist, and they come out, and you know you're sitting there for a few minutes right beside the OR. River's there, the magazines, old magazines are there. Like it's like you're in a dentist, but like it's time, and you know they go through your lifestyle questions because like they got to know, like, do you smoke, do you drink, do you because you're supposed to stop all this stuff, right? You can't smoke for 2 weeks or 4 weeks beforehand. You can't drink for, I forget, 3 days before, 4 days before, whatever it is. You got to stop your HRT 2 weeks before, 4 weeks after, or is it 4 weeks before, 2 weeks after? So they run through all that because they're about to put you under, right? And yeah, you've got the exit ramp is there. But yeah, to Cece's point, can't imagine saying no at that point. I agree. I couldn't imagine, but that moment, like getting up off the chair and walking to the table, it's 15 feet, 12 feet, whatever it is. It was like walking on air. It was such a cool feeling. This is it. And it was awesome. Tori, I don't know if I'll ever get SRS. I did have an orchiectomy, or is it an orchiotomy? I never pronounce it right, I think. I've really pulled back from the online trans community. It's really started getting toxic for me. Yeah, you know, Tori, I've noticed this too. And I don't know what it is. Online trans folks are typically white middle-class people who have access to the internet, right? And it's a different experience than the trans world IRL. And so you have these white middle-class binary trans women. I find, as one, I find they speak for non-binary folks, speak over non-binary folks, speak over people of color, speak over Indigenous folks. And it's really off-putting. And I think you can see online that I mean on Twitter, on YouTube, like I do have people following me or subscribing or whatever, but like there are others who play that game, who speak that language to other middle-class white binary trans women, and they have thousands and thousands and thousands of, or they look pretty, whatever. And I don't want that personally. I just want to be myself, and that's it. And I think that people are who they say they are, and that just because it makes me uncomfortable or makes you uncomfortable doesn't mean they're uncomfortable. And I think that's something super important. And we can get kind of caught up in an echo chamber, just of talking to each other, middle-class white women. So yeah. On TikTok, I find it way better than Instagram and way better than Facebook. Yeah, Facebook, I really use Facebook on a very limited basis in terms of like it's family, friends, marketplace, and you know, some different groups and stuff, but it's not the same. TikTok, I'm just starting to explore TikTok actually the last couple weeks. I mean, I'm 45 years old, and like a grown-up, I watch TikTok on Facebook or Reddit. But TikTok's been really cool. Actually, I don't speak the language yet at all, but I'm learning, and I'm gonna learn. Constance, I think it's more you have a diverse spectrum of people joined together on the fact they happen to be, and would not normally get along or what. Yeah, there's nothing we have in common with her than our gender identity disorder. That's it, right? Like, and then once you take that away, you have all the normal socioeconomic things that would separate the stratification of people that would, oh, you are older than me, aren't you? I'm learning. I am using it. I'm getting to know it. But I find on TikTok, it knows me, that what age I am, because it's feeding me Gen X memes and stuff. And anyways, I got stuff I gotta sort it out there. But yeah, we wouldn't normally get along otherwise. Like, I don't know if anyone's seen the British version of The Office. It's only 2 seasons, but it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. 2 seasons plus a Christmas special. And the last line of the second season, of the last episode, is something like, we have nothing in common with our coworkers other than the piece of carpet we share with them for 40 hours a week, or whatever it is. And like that, I feel that sums up the online trans community. And like, it's not to say you can't make friends with people or have things in common with people outside of it. And I think this goes back to my point about people who just kind of disappear into the shadows. The ether is that they're just living their life. You know, like I like photography a lot. That's what I really enjoy. And that's what led me into YouTube, actually. It wasn't that being trans led me into YouTube, it was that I'm a photographer and I wanted to learn more and expand my knowledge base. And if you watch my first videos, I talk first about being a sales and marketing expert, because I thought I could leverage my photography experience into some sort of like online sales and marketing business. And that's what I wanted to do. And I just started talking about trans stuff because I was like, okay, well, this is quick and easy things that I can just kind of rattle off. And while I learn the process and I learn how to edit and I learn how to set lighting up and, you know, what the different, color temperatures are. I'm just trying to find the switch here anyways, I'm not. So, the British Office was too mean to me, because British people are mean. I'm sorry. It's something on the water in there. It's the tea. What does Ted Lasso say about the tea? It's just brown colored toilet water. Is that? The US version had a lot of the same sort of humor, but it was a lot more kind-hearted. Yeah. The way Gareth is treated there, versus the way Dwight is treated. Like there's somebody could write a paper on that. I'm British, Tara. I don't sound it, but right, give me a few more of these and you'll get it from me. Tori, it is all the wars, actually. And this was when I went through the UK when I was younger, through Scotland, England, and Wales. I didn't get to Northern Ireland, even though I am 39% from Ulster genetically. I was struck by the monuments to war everywhere. And I left there thinking England is a war-mongering nation. So yeah, it's part of it, and empire. Like it's not, having had more time. Like we talk about colonization here, but it's empire there. Like, and I think of my father talking to me, as a child growing up, and talking about the British Empire and how the sun never went down on the British Empire, and I think he was kind of the last generation of the empire, really. If we take India as, that 1949, 1950, 1949, 48, when India left the empire. So anyways, I got thoughts. I got a lot of thoughts about the UK, and mostly because I am British, and I'm very proud of my culture, my history, being Scottish, being Irish, being an Irish Catholic in Scotland is not an easy road. And you'll see me post all the time about, Scotland specifically, really, and the gender recognition stuff. And Like I'm not there, but I am there. I am there. Brexit was British sunset. Yeah, Brexit. I'm looking at Brexit through the lens of a Scottish person, and my hope through all that, I'm very pro-independence. My hope through all that was that Scotland would have the chance to leave the UK and rejoin Europe. And Scotland was promised something by David Cameron, and Boris Johnson stabbed them in the back. And like let's remember, Boris Johnson led the Brexit thing and then disappeared. He stepped back and and then came in and then left. Alan, yes, I am a YouTube fan. I've seen them 4 times, 3 times, 4 times. I've seen them a few times. Achtung Baby is one of my go-tos. Like when I just need a moment, like by myself, I'll put on Achtung Baby and from beginning to end, listen to that album. So I'm wondering, Alan, if this is spam though, because you've asked me twice now. So I'm not sure if you're a bot or not, and this is something different. So Constance, I don't know if that helps, at least from my perspective, in terms of being a British trans person. But I got a lot of thoughts about it. Marjorie Dale. I feel like that name is really familiar, and I can't quite place it. Such an informative and valuable video. It was interesting hearing and seeing your vulnerability. Fear of infection and UTI are things cisgender females experience, and it's hard to get through physically and emotionally, especially the first time. My doctor, when I told him about it, actually said, "Congratulations." Kind of suffer in silence thing, but don't feel alone or think this is just to do with having a neo vagina. Common experience for every woman. You are very brave and strong. Thank you, Marjorie. And then Orange Worm jumps in, and I remember these. Orange Worm took a lot of exception. Like, I'm not reading all that, but basically Orange Worm was saying that you're a trans woman, you can't get a UTI because you've had surgery and you shouldn't get surgery and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I just kind of ignored it. Okay, Tori, we'll catch you later. Thanks for joining. I don't know how late we'll go. It's been an hour. I thought we'd only be 45 minutes. So we've got 2 videos to go through. And yeah, it's been really good to have you on here and have all the others on here as well. So stream looks healthy though. We've got a lot of people on there, more than the last one. So regrets are normal, Sarah Gabriella says, with her Lenza PFP. I hope you like my Lenza PFP. Regrets are normal, and like yeah. Did we go to the right surgeon? I certainly have had thoughts about this, especially when it comes to my labia. And I've talked to other people who've gone to Montreal, and the surgeons don't like it's penile inversion, so it's not the same as the other procedures. Like in Thailand, they use the PPT. Periotonal pull-through, robotic assisted. And I think Dr. Bowers in San Francisco uses that. So yeah, I certainly wonder that. Did I get the right surgeon? Did I just do it because it was free? Should I saved up $50,000 and gone to Thailand for a couple of months and just done it there? Complications. I think I got lucky without complications, really. I have some scarring. That I think I'm stuck with now at this point. And so like you can massage it, right? And like there's an oil, like there's a vitamin E oil I was using, but the way it heals, I was avoiding this area because I was afraid of infection. So I just avoided that area and used the oil elsewhere. And in the end, I got this pretty gnarly scar there. No guarantee that a decision we make is the best decision for us. Yeah, sliding doors, right? I just watched Everything Everywhere All at Once this week, and oh my gosh, like, who knows, like, what the right decision is, what universe it leads us to. Alan would like me to keep coming with updates. Cool. Thank you, Alan, for sharing that. I want a vagina because I should have born with XX chromosomes and a naturally grown vagina. Yeah, you do have the opportunity with medical technology to correct that. So Jane Doe has a question about the muscles in the area. I don't know if men have muscles in the same spot or how that works. Maybe surgery does some moving around. Seems very complex. Glad it is. And then Jade jumps in. Jade also has some really great updates. I think she had surgery about 4 months before me, so a lot of really great updates there as well. Here's a really important comment to me. BRAP life. I don't know what BRAP stands for, but this comment actually was caught me off guard. And so, hey lady, just came across your channel. Really impressed how open you are. Had mine done by Broussard 25 years ago. So to my point about A, trans women disappearing, B, what were the long-term effects. Broussard was really young. She still has 0 regrets. Awesome. Back on my bike at 9 weeks, and I remember thinking that was amazing. So I started playing soccer again after about 9-10 weeks. So that was the thing. But then she talks about mountain biking on the North Shore. So here in Vancouver, the North Shore is on the other side of the inlet where the mountains are. Grouse Mountain, Seymour, Cypress Bowl, all that, and a lot of mountain biking trails. So mountain biking on the North Shore was my passion in those days, and getting back to my sport was so important. This started raising flags with me. I was like, oh, hey, I remember somebody who was a competitive mountain biker in the late 90s and early 2000s who transitioned and was in the media and had a lot, like that whole argument of trans women in sports. And I was like, oh, is this Michelle Dumaresque? And these days it's with the throttle, but sport is still so critical to my well-being. Anyways, I'm sure glad women like you are making content like this. All mine was pre-Google and YouTube. Cheers from Kamloops. Kamloops is about 4 hours to the northeast of here, in the desert, actually. A lot of good biking there. So I was like, hey, are you Michelle? Just throwing it out there. From 20 years ago, trans women mountain biking. And yeah, how about that? And so Michelle was in the media a lot when there wasn't a lot of trans representation. And I remember seeing an interview with Michelle in the paper back when we read newspapers. And she said something along the lines of what started it was she just went to her doctor and said, fix me. And, I hung on to that for a long time. And I still think about that's ultimately what it comes down to, is just fix me. So yeah, that's her. Michelle, if you're watching this, thank you for your visibility 20 years ago. You planted a seed, really, and you showed me that it could be done, and it just took me a little while to get there. Alan's from Fort Worth, Texas. So I've been to Houston and Galveston, never been to Dallas. Dallas and Fort Worth they're like the same metro area, right? I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Marfa is very high on my list of places to visit. As a photographer, as an artist, I consider viewing the world with artistic eyes. As a photographer, Marfa is somewhere I want to go. Austin, of course. I want to go to Austin city limits. That's bucket list for me. Along with SNL. Those would be my two kind of things I'd want to go see. Connie had surgery on June 28th. So, just over 6 months. Dallas, Fort Worth. That's the airport. Yes, that makes sense. Connie, June 28th. Can relate a lot to what you're saying. The smell is from lube and you have to wash that stuff out. Yes. You know what? I just got Vagisil today, actually. I make my own saline saline rinse, but be sure to use distilled water and plain salt. You know, Connie, I talked about this in I think the 3-month update, where I just got tired of doing that. I was like, I'm doing it 4 times. I'm dilating 4 times a day, and then I have to boil water for 20 minutes. And, you know, you're not leaving a stove unattended. So, like, you're still doing the sitz baths. And I was just like, no. So I was ordering saline solution. So I'd spend $120 a week to order the saline solution, the bottles. The first 6 weeks or so, I did that. And then because the nurses at Montreal said after 8 weeks, you can use tap water, but only if there's a condition, like basically there's no blood, I think, or there's no opening. So essentially you're healing. So that's what I did. Trans friend put me onto the douche kit set up from Amazon. That's what I got. I should get a new one now because I've had mine since surgery, and it's probably time. I don't know when you're supposed to replace that stuff, but perhaps you do. Stand up in the shower and wash everything out. Yeah, you stick it in, and then you squeeze, and it comes out. I try to make sure I squeeze and I keep it squeezed, because if you let it unsqueeze while it's in there, you're going to feel yourself get sucked into the holes, and it's not comfortable. Antibacterial soap is a must. I agree 100%. You need to have bacteriostatic antibacterial stuff. They don't tell you at the hospital. Maybe I was on pain meds. I do not remember a lot either. It's fuzzy now looking back. Finally made it to the gym a few weeks ago. First 2 months, it felt like I was trying to sit on a pitchfork on some of the equipment. It started back slow, but making progress and getting some energy back. I don't think we talk enough about energy post-op. And there were some days in the first couple of months where I was just exhausted. Like, I needed to nap, and I would just collapse into my bed. So I think energy is something I became a lot more aware of after that. And it's a positive I've taken from the experience, is that I'm a lot more in tune with my energy levels, with my capacity. And as such, I'm also a lot more protective of my energy and my capacity. And I'm saying no to a lot of things now, because I don't have the time. I don't have the ability, the space, whatever, the spoons. Like, I'm good. Wishing you the best. Can't carry the weight of everyone else's opinion. No way. Sherry, surgery in Montreal by the woman surgeon. I met Dr. He went to the Mayo Clinic. Very tall. So Broussard went away for a couple days, and then the other surgeon was in, I forget his name. I drank wine in Nino. Talks about the red Cabernet Cab Sauv. Sarah B says it's normal to second guess ourselves after excuse me. My brain is working too fast for my mouth now. It's normal to second guess ourselves and wonder if we made the right decision. Yep, to my earlier point. Okay, Constance, you go drop your kids off. Thanks for joining, for real. Thanks. I think it was some of the content you posted back in Translator. That sub was a big help for me too. So I still try to make sure, I just posted this morning in there, and I still try to make sure I'm posting in there and commenting in that sub, because it was such a help to me. And I think just the odd comment here and there is a help to others. Asako says, no, where did my wonderful comments go? I did not see Asako's comments. So like I said, sometimes YouTube just removes them, and I don't see them. So I turn the notifications off on my phone, because they would pop up, and it really sucked to wake up to horrible messages on my phone. Where's my phone? You'd wake up to them, right? And that, or I'd be sitting in a meeting and it would pop up some horrible slur. So I turned off notifications for the phone, from YouTube Studio. And even in YouTube Studio, I don't see some comments. Bobby, longtime commenter, like from really the very beginning that I've been working on this channel. Thank you for open and honest recount of your experience. Zero depth. This was a thing I've really wondered. Maybe I should have gone zero depth. And it seems a lot. But I didn't want to go zero depth and wonder if I should have gone with a canal. In that I felt that would be the greater regret versus getting the canal, dealing with everything. I knew I wouldn't regret it. And I don't regret it at all. It's just like the time, the recovery, the effort I'm still dealing with. I'm still healing from it. I'm still trying to, I'm still once a day dilating, right? And Kaz 3 months ago, so 70 days until the peritoneal vaginoplasty. Kaz, I hope you comment again I'd love to hear an update on how you're doing. Dilation starts day 5 after surgery. I think dilation for me was day 4 or 5 after surgery too. 12 weeks, take me 2.5 years to earn the 6 weeks off I need for recovery. And I think that's, in America, I think things are just different, right? So in Canada, typically you're looking at 3 or 4 weeks of holidays, and most professional organizations will offer income protection, disability insurance, which kicks in on first day of surgery. It's a tough spot. Jade hopes I can reconnect with Bath. I still haven't, Jade. Still haven't. I thought about taking a bath on the weekend. I was like, screw that. I don't want to bathe. That 4 times a day, it really sucked the joy out of it for me. It was still trying to start 4 times a day. Jade's going to have a very detailed comment here. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. If you're looking at surgery, I would, for real, go follow Jade on Instagram, read her comments here. I talk about weight gain. She gained weight. Talks about smell of something like that prompted me to get the Vagisil. And this was an interesting comment. Lemonade Lunacy talks about probably going to subscribe and call to Terf, although she hates labels. Been trying to step outside her echo chamber. So anyways, I just said welcome. And, if it's in good faith, I'm willing to answer any question. And Jace is here, talks about it here. Jace is another person who's was on one of the last live streams. And there was a comment there from a Terf. I deleted it. Emily, Emily, if you're watching, I need to respond to your message. Thank you. I appreciate your message. Emily is a good friend and lives in Montreal and visited me when I was in L'Escapade. I'm not gonna. My French is bad tonight. But when I was in Montreal GRS, and she came to visit, her and Max. So also is PhD in clinical psychology and talks about ADHD there. So, if you're neurodivergent and you see her comments, she's coming from a place of authority on that one. Rachel, thanks. Serena, recovering is a huge task. Serena's got some interesting stories. I don't think one of the last videos I had, Serena posted about her dad walking in on her mid dilation, but had facial feminization surgery at the same time. And I've seen a few people. I asked about doing top surgery, BA, breast augmentation at the same time as bottom surgery, and I've seen a couple people online do it in Montreal. I decided not to. Yvonne. I'm not going to talk about Yvonne. You can see my comments. And thanks for the watch time, Yvonne. That's all I got. So Alan, I think you're the same, Alan. Is that you? Normal is good. I think from Dallas, Fort Worth. Paul, 58 and trans. Seems so hard. Polly, again, a wine recommendation. And Diaries of Layla Dax, talking about another trans woman raising kids. I feel like I'm the only one sometimes too, but I've met a few, but it seems like online there isn't a lot of talk about being trans and being a parent, and the challenges with that. So I mentioned earlier, my son is living with me now. My 16-year-old is living with me, and he's new to the city, new to the school. He's moved in the last 3 months, and he's bringing a friend over tonight. And there was a conversation he needed to have with his friend, like, hey, here's the setup. And there's a dynamic there as a parent, as a child, as a family. And I feel like this is something that we should be a lot more open about and talking about, because it's important to hear. And it's not all just going to the club and looking pretty, or going shopping and brunching and all the stuff, as the gays do, right? So look, I had a plan, 45 minutes for 2 videos, but it's an hour and a half. My throat is getting sore. So you'll notice I've started doing shorts. I don't know what I'm going to do with this channel. I'm learning, I'm doing more, but I've been posting shorts, been posting on TikTok, and I'm going to continue to do that and just kind of figure that out and explore that, as a platform. So thank you for your patience as I fumble my way through that. I'm not going to do a second video. The trans life is hard. I think what I'll do is I'll do another live stream in the next couple of weeks. I don't know why my face is frozen like that, but there it is. So yeah, that's that. And I think on that note, it's Friday night, and I'm going to say have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you for dialing in. I'm going to close the last comment. My kids and their friends have been nothing but amazing with me and with them. Yeah, my kids been like, I remember my daughter on the playground when she was visiting in the summer, and somebody said to her, "That's your dad?" Because my kids call me dad, and that's what works for us. And it doesn't necessarily work for everyone, but that's what works for our family. And my daughter explained explained gender and explained being trans, and that was that. Anyways, have a great night, everyone. Great weekend. Thank you all so much. I'm really, really grateful that you all joined, and we'll have to do this again soon sometime. So thanks.